Hello, I'm Natalie Brynne, and as a piano teacher for over 23 years, I've seen a lot of what stops adults from getting to confidently play the piano, especially with all of our commitments and distractions in this busy world. I know if I want to see more adults enjoying playing the piano, then I need to help solve the problems that usually stop them. Today, we're talking about the hidden problem holding adult piano learners back. If you saw my last YouTube video, you saw this graphic showing the top 8 most common problems, in my experience, that stop people from being able to play the way they want. I shared with you that if it is your goal to play the piano and you start doing actions towards it, then you can think of it as if you're a car on your journey driving towards your destination of playing. But you can see all these parking spots off to the side where adults often get stuck, pulled over, and not making any progress. On the last YouTube video, I covered these two problems, when you have overwhelming sheet music or when you're learning in a way that doesn't stick because it's easy to forget. And I'll link that video below if you want to watch that one first. But today I want to focus on one of these issues that adults often don't even realize is a hidden problem with hidden consequences when they're trying to learn piano. And that is learning in isolation. And this one actually connects to several of these other problems on the page, which you'll see as we go through this video. Today, we live in an amazing time where an adult who wants to learn piano has so many options at their fingertips. Just 200 years ago, only the very rich could afford to hire piano masters to teach them. And in my grandma's time, you basically had two options. You could get a book or a method that you could teach yourself through, or you had to do some kind of in-person lessons. But nowadays, there are so many more options for learning with the internet. YouTube, apps, courses, online lessons, and access to so much more comprehensive information than we've ever had before. So, many adults now take on learning piano alone through one or more of these options, being self-taught. It's amazing that that's possible nowadays, and adults who take this on deserve lots of credit. But being self-taught is like a coin that has two sides. There's pros and there's cons. And in this case, there's some hidden cons that can sometimes lead adults to not make the progress they want to make or to even end up quitting. So today, we'll cover 7 things that can make progress harder or can even stop you when you're learning in isolation. And then I'll share with you what actually helps. The first problem you can run into when you're learning in isolation is a lack of feedback. Part of sounding your best in piano is getting the feedback so that you actually realize what you need to do in order to help your piano playing sound better. You've probably heard that saying, you don't know what you don't know. And many self-taught pianists do make progress through a song, but they don't always realize when they're off rhythm, so they might be racing through certain parts of the song and really slowing down in others. And a good example of that is if you imagine that you're going on a car ride and you want it to be a nice, consistent car ride. You don't want to be zooming up and then suddenly putting on the brakes and jerking the passengers around. And it's the same with playing your song. You want to be able to play through the song at a nice, consistent rhythm. What I've noticed about most of the piano students that I've taught is they value speed. Somehow it's got in our head that if we can play something fast, that means we're good. But if you are playing something fast and sloppy or muddy, and then you play the next part extremely slow and you have big pauses between one section and the next, your song is not going to sound polished. You're not going to sound as musical as you can. You'll definitely need a way to learn where you can know you're playing things right on rhythm. The other thing that can happen when you're playing without feedback of somebody who knows how to help you sit the most natural way at the keyboard is you're often learning things in a way that takes more effort than it needs to. An example of this is there was a time period when I was a preteen when I taught myself a lot on the piano when my family couldn't afford lessons. I learned a ton of songs with my wrist dipped down and my fingers playing the keys like this. Needless to say, it was really muddy, and when I finally started taking lessons again, my teacher was appalled that I had learned such high-level songs in such a messy way. So she actually started me back on some easier songs, and we were able to correct my posture. And then it was actually a lot easier to play everything from then on. I thought it was normal to have pain after you played for a while, but it really isn't. The second issue you can run into is that you're not learning important key skills on your piano journey due to brain's resistance to learning hard things. When you're learning a specific song, but you get to a place that feels really hard or overwhelming, you might just end up stopping there and going to songs that you feel like you're having more fun on. So over time, if you keep skipping certain skills or glossing over them, then you never get to build up those ways of playing. And over time, you'll feel like you're stuck on a plateau and you can't go further into the type of songs you want to play because you've avoided working on those key skills. For example, I met someone who had never really learned to use their fourth finger in their right hand because since the first three were more dominant, they just played everything with those three fingers. Needless to say, they were playing in a way that wasn't the most natural and easy way to play because they were having to do all these moves to get their three fingers to all of the notes. I don't know about you, but my brain has a way of making molehills into mountains. If I see something that looks hard, my brain instantly goes to the fact that it's going to take a lot of research, and then therefore it's something that I need to put off until later when I have time to research it fully. It could be a quick question that if I could get it answered, I could immediately make progress. I've done this a lot with learning tech, for example. Over time, I had to learn to stop before just putting something off in the future and skipping it entirely, and to realize, what if this is a quick answer? I can figure it out right now. But sometimes if you're learning on your own, you don't even know which question to ask that would help you with that skill. The third issue you might run into is lack of accountability that could have helped you stick with your piano goal once motivation tapers off. When you're alone, it's easy to go to the piano when you're fired up and motivated and you feel like you make a ton of progress. But then when that motivation tends to wane, when you're tired, when you have other things that you want to do, it's easy to just say, oh, I'll just put it off until tomorrow. Or to even ask yourself, does it really matter if I skip a couple days? And before you know it, you lose consistency and the goal becomes a thing of the past. And even if you haven't told anyone that you were going to start the goal of learning piano, when you know that you said you were going to do something and then you didn't do it, it makes you feel worse about yourself on some level. And it can affect the way you see yourself. The fourth issue you can run into when learning in isolation is a lack of perspective. And this can easily play right into the self-doubt and discouragement that can help stop adults from ever learning piano. When you're learning on your own and you don't have much to compare your progress to, it's easy to think that you're either doing much better or much worse than you really are. An example from my one-on-one private lessons over the last 23 years, I'll often have adult students come in, and when they make mistakes, they are so upset, they just treat it like they have made no progress over that week. But when I just heard them play the same thing last week, I can already tell it's sounding better. Some parts are smoother, some parts are faster. So I have a better perspective having not heard something for a week than they do being with it every single day. This can lead to the problem of you just feeling like you're not smart or talented enough to learn, or like you must be one of the only people struggling with something when in reality, it might be something that everyone struggles with on their piano journey. I refer to this as the something is wrong with me mindset. When you're practicing alone, it's easy to fall into that. The fifth issue you can run into is lack of support, inspiration, and encouragement. There's so many times when I thought I could do something in life and that I thought I would just be my own cheerleader, but some days you just don't have the energy. And if you wait around for the inspiration to come and fuel you up and give you all this energy to go make tons of progress at once, it is not very likely to happen. Piano progress shows up much more in the little daily movements than in the big bursts of inspiration and motivation. A little adds up to a lot. The sixth issue is actually leading right into this graphic. No clear path to success. You might not have a clear path or direction of what exactly to do next in order to make the progress that you want to make. We talked earlier about it being a pro on one side of the coin, that there are so many options for you to learn nowadays. But the con on the other side of that coin is that sometimes you can be overwhelmed with options to learn now. If you're just kind of chasing what feels fun in the moment, or you're learning from all kinds of scattered tutorials and apps, then it can feel like you're collecting a bunch of random tricks, but you don't really know how to put them together in a meaningful way. You might watch 20 different piano videos and get little things from each, but then as you watch the next video that looks awesome, then you haven't even been able to practice and repeat something you learned from the first video, so it goes bye-bye. Moves that aren't repeated cannot grow those brain pathways. You will start gaining some knowledge, but as far as the skills you want, sometimes it's hard if you don't have a way to repeat certain skills over and over. It can start to sometimes feel like advice soup as well. You might be getting well-meaning advice from different people, but some of it can conflict. Some people are very opinionated about this is the only one way you should be learning, and then another person has a completely opposite opinion. So the real question here is, are you learning in a meaningful way? Are you really making progress, or are you just collecting a bunch of random things? The real test to me is, can you play a song you started learning months later? Especially nowadays, there's many cool options to learn, like these falling notes tutorials, but in my experience, people usually do not remember those at all if a few months have gone by without them playing it. and then it just feels hard all over again to get it back. The seventh potential issue you can have is sometimes you don't make good progress when you don't have something at stake. For example, if you have traded your hard-earned money for something, then seeing that money taken out of your account causes a little bit of pain that tells you, ooh, maybe I should use what I'm actually paying for. But that can bring us into this problem right here, the cost of piano lessons. A lot of people are trying to be self-taught and learn all they can on their own because of the cost of piano lessons. You might have heard me say in a previous video that at least here in the United States, the average cost of one single piano lesson with a private teacher is $40. And some people can't just do that every week. And especially if you're learning piano in one of the hardest ways possible for an adult, which is trying to learn to read traditional music, then often busy adults end up paying week after week to do the exact same things. Those are 7 of the main issues that people who are being self-taught can run into. There are more, but those are the main ones I'm focusing on today. Experiencing some or all of these 7 things can result in a lack of progress, discouragement, or worse, quietly quitting and your dream slips away. So now I'll be going back through those 7 things and telling you practical solutions that could help you for each. But before I do, I want to tell you here, in case you don't watch this video until the end, that one of the main solutions that I can offer to you now for all of these issues is to get yourself out of isolation into a community where you're learning alongside others like you. This can already help to set you up to benefit from more support, encouragement, belonging, perspective, a specific learning path, seeing others that are learning along the same path, and you can even add on the feedback and accountability parts if you like. I wanted to share with you that at the time of this video, I have now made my Piano with Ease course and community hosted on School have a free tier. I'm keeping this entry point free at the time of this video while the group is still relatively new, and it's linked down in the description for you to join. But even if you see this video later when the entry point becomes paid, I still plan to keep these benefits very low cost. So click to join my school group below where you can try the Piano with Ease method risk-free. Okay, so besides my community, the other practical solutions to each of the 7 problems I went through before are, first, when you have a lack of feedback, of course, a solution is to get a piano teacher. This is a higher cost solution, and you will want to make sure the piano teacher can help you with your goals. And if you're learning traditional note reading, you'll want to make sure you can get in daily practice in order to make it worth it for you to keep paying week after week. If you're not feeling like you're making really good progress each week, then all the teacher is really doing is keeping you in maintenance mode. But a good teacher can help you to have a clear focus and a structure. For the issues I mentioned about playing with rhythm, they can also help you with that. They can also help you with posture. If you don't get a teacher though, you'll want a way that you can make sure you're playing a song right along with the correct rhythm. If you join my community, I do have every song with a play along video at a regular or a slower speed where you can hear the metronome in the background. This allows you to be able to play right along, and if you get off, that's showing you that's the part that you need to work on the most. I also have an extensive posture and hand position tutorial video in there. A practical solution for the second one, which is not learning key important skills because of brain's resistance to hard things, is to learn through a specific step-by-step piano method. When you get to something more difficult, don't skip it. Try and gamify it in your mind, or give yourself maybe a reward for actually overcoming that thing. You could also take on a mantra where you can help yourself tackle the difficult things. You can say, I got this. I've learned other skills. I can do this too. My practical solutions for the third item, the lack of accountability, is to get an accountability buddy. You can get someone who's also learning piano, even if it's a different way than you, or you can get someone with a different goal entirely. But you check in with each other and you encourage each other, and you can share when you've made progress. You can ask for support when you run into a wall. You can do the same thing with a mini group. It doesn't have to be just 2 of you. Maybe you can start a text thread with all of you that are working on a goal. You can also make a public commitment, like you can post on your social media that you're starting to learn piano and invite others to ask you about it when you run into them, or you can even share that you'll be posting a song at a specific time. Even knowing that one person may be waiting to hear your song can make a big difference. My practical solutions for number 4, having a lack of perspective, is to actually record yourself playing often. If you can record yourself when you first start a song and then you record yourself a few months later, then progress becomes undeniable. You can literally see that you've made progress from the first time you started until now. The other solution to whether you think you're much better or much worse than you actually are is, again, to get a paid teacher or from another piano player with much more experience than you. They can give you feedback, they can show you some tips and some things that you can be doing. My solutions for number 5, where you have a lack of support, encouragement, or inspiration, again, you can ask for this through your accountability buddies, or you can set up a reward that you're working towards that you feel like will help motivate you. Here's a little example. When I needed to get out and start being active again, I actually signed up to earn a Conqueror Challenge medal, which had a set number of miles that I needed to walk in order to earn that. But it became really fun because every time I made progress, I could see in the app how many miles I had done and how much closer I had become to my goal. When I was done, I could actually submit and order the medal and enjoy it when it came, knowing that I had earned it. So if you can set up some kind of reward like that for yourself, it can really help motivate you. You can also help inspire yourself by listening to piano music that you love. There's so much on YouTube now or Spotify where you can really enjoy hearing piano songs played and just think to yourself, someday this could be me. My solutions for number 6, which is no clear path or direction to what you're learning. Again, commit to a certain method or app to take you through specific steps, or get a teacher that can help you with a clear weekly focus so that you could see real progress in a few months ago versus now. Solutions for number 7, having nothing at stake, is again, you can pay for private lessons. But if that's too much for you, you maybe could even pay for a program that provides accountability. Like the Conqueror Challenge example I had before, I actually had to pay ahead of time in order to enter that challenge, and the money really helped cover the medal, which I was able to earn. But if I wouldn't have earned it, I couldn't have got that medal. But having that money at stake helped me want to go for it. Or my best suggestion is pay a lot less to be a member in a piano community, where you can have the benefit of everything I mentioned earlier in this video alongside others who are on the same path as you. Remember, the real test of any way you're learning is, can you sit down and simply enjoy playing? Can you still remember your songs months later that you worked on earlier? In other ways, did you learn in a way that sticks? So now we've covered some pros and cons of learning alone, some challenges that come through that, and some practical solutions. And I'll wrap up this video by sharing why I believe that learning with others can change everything for you. Learning piano as an adult doesn't have to be lonely, and it shouldn't be. Just like there's more information than ever on the internet, there are also more spaces to connect than ever. If you learn piano as part of a group or community, it can allow you to not feel alone as you learn. You can see others learning alongside you. You can have a better perspective of how learning journeys can look, so you're not just stuck thinking that you're doing worse than you really are. You realize you're not the only one dealing with a specific issue. Communities can be a place where you can share your own playing. This can help you go for something, and you can be inspired by the songs that other members share. Already, this can give you more purpose and direction. You can ask quick questions that teachers or the other members might know the answers to, versus if you had weekly lessons and you had to wait until the next time you saw your teacher. You can also learn from other people's questions and answers, and in a community, you can even search past answers. A community can help provide belonging and permission, the opposite of learning in isolation. Seeing others do something that we want to do can unconsciously help give us permission that we can do it as well. As far as cost, communities can often be much cheaper than paying for individual lessons. If you join a community with some kind of accountability or consistency challenge, this can also help you check in and make regular progress. I made my Piano with Ease Course Plus community with all these things in mind. So I'd like to extend a warm welcome for you to join, especially while it has a free tier like I mentioned before, or if you see this video far down the road, while it has a very low cost tier. The link is in the description below. Come in and try a song in the Piano with Ease style, risk-free, designed to help you learn in a way that sticks. And then stick around so you can have a clear path forward through the Piano with Ease 5 stages. At this time, the group is growing daily. Hundreds of people have learned in the Piano with Ease way already, and I can't wait for you to be a part of it too. As long as you're a generally happy person who can get in and learn, then you'll fit right in. So now, using the solutions in this video, you can go from learning in isolation with possible self-doubt, discouragement, and inconsistency, and turn that into solutions where you are really proud of your progress. There is real power in not learning piano alone.